Alright, it's Ring of the Hawk Season 6, the show where we watch back a wrestler's short run with a company, and at the end we shove them a final grade to see if they can do the JOB to the HAWK. And of course, if you know a wrestler who could do the JOB, shove their name down in the comments, Jack! On today's episode... oh no. Chavo Guerrero. Yeah, not a fun day for the Hawk. People are often shocked that I don't enjoy Chavo's work. I hope that this video should go a long way to explaining my feelings for Chavo. His WCW run, cool, no issues. His WWE run, great with Eddie, great with his dad, not so great when he became a comedy jobber with a never-ending feud with Hornswoggle. But in TNA it was different. TNA fans were left to buy into him as a big deal. The issue is that by 2012, Chavo Guerrero was not a big deal. Much of his TNA run just came across as one big Eddie Guerrero tribute, which is all well and good for a one-off, but Chavo did little to reinvent himself and move out of his family's shadow. I always found Chavo rolling up in TNA and automatically wanting title opportunities a tough pill to swallow. Yeah, that happens all the time now, but back in the 2010s that was a spot really only saved for your Kurt Angles, your Jeff Hardys, your Ken Andersons, and Chavo was not one of them. If you'd been watching his WWE run, he'd been booked as a joke for years. Now we were supposed to believe he was a tough guy. It didn't work that way for the Hawk. He needed some rebuilding first because he was a jobber in my Hawk eyes. But now this jobber moves to TNA and the ex-WWE guy is suddenly in line for title opportunities. Over lots of TNA fan favourites, by the way, who were trying their hardest to break through the TNA glass ceiling. He never felt like a good fit in this company, so I've compiled all of Chavo's matches and, unfortunately, he does qualify for Ring of the Hawk Season 6 by the skin of his ass. Alright, it's Chavo Guerrero. Will he get buried like a pharaoh? Chavo makes his TNA debut in the middle of July 2012. Your first thought is, what horrible music, it sounds like a fat man falling down and being dragged along a road. Not the pink shirt, this stuff brings back bad memories. The pink shirt of doom. He struggles to speak during his debut promo as the fans chant Eddie. He is here because TNA is the one place that the Guerrero family haven't won any gold. He vows to be the best and be a best champion. He has an argument with Kid Cash about whether or not Chavo is a legend. The crowd chant Eddie. Cash calls Chavo's dad a drunk. Supermex Hernandez saves Chavo and we've got our first feud set up already. Match 1, singles match. Kid Cash, a burnt packet of Walker's Crisp at the back of your mum's cupboard, takes on Chavo Guerrero. Kid Cash is a known dick and he does lots of Eddie impressions. That costs him. Chavo starts throwing uppercuts. Cash fights off a German and he decks Chavo. The ref has to drag Cash off of Chavo. It doesn't help and Cash hits a big spinebuster. This is a very one-sided match. A backbreaker gets Cash a close fall. Cash tries a springing moonsault which Chavo blocks with his knees. Chavo now finally does something. He hits a head scissors and a dropkick for a 2 count. He keeps going for slingshot senton. Chavo is about to win when Gunner appears on the apron. Cash can't do a whole lot to take advantage and Chavo hits the Three Amigos. The frog splash ends the match. Chavo didn't do a whole lot and Eddie's name was said more than Chavo's on commentary. This wasn't very exciting but it's early days, it's a C. Match 2, Hardcore Justice 2012, tag match. Kid Cash and Gunner take on Chavo and Hernandez. Chavo starts out fighting in a handicap situation but he hits Gunner with a dropkick and quickly hits the Three Amigos to Kid Cash. He even has the cheek to try and end the match 1 minute in, but Gunner stops his frog splash. Cash and Gunner slowly work him over for a bit. They land a double team slingshot suplex. Cash gets distracted making fun of Chavo and he turns around into a head scissors. Gunner stops any tag with a clothesline. He also gets a 2 off another clothesline. Gunner destroys him with a huge back body drop and Kid Cash boots Chavo in the nutsack. This beating goes on for a very long time. Chavo eventually hits an electric chair drop but still can't tag out. It then all goes wrong when Chavo reverses a catapult and jumps off the top and both guys take each other out. Chavo finally tags Hernandez for the first time. The heels are screwed now. Chavo eventually makes a blind tag during Air Mexico and he finishes off Kid Cash with a frog splash in 10 minutes. And during that 10 minutes, I think he did 2 moves. It wasn't very exciting, it's a D. Match 3, tag title match. The champions are Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian before they were Bad Influence. They take on Chavo and Hernandez. Thankfully, it's different to the last match, and Chavo and Hernandez actually do stuff in the early part. Chavo almost botches a head scissors on Daniels. He starts throwing drop kicks and he tags out. Soon after, Chavo hits the Three Amigos whilst his partner holds Kaz in a vertical suplex the entire time. This is something you're going to see a lot of, Hernandez outshining Chavo. The crowd are liking this one. Bad Influence finally get on top by cheating and Daniels hits a back leg trip. Daniels and Kaz hit slingshot attacks for a 2 count. Chavo is now isolated for ages. Daniels hip tosses Kaz on top of Chavo, but he survives that one. He rolls away from a clothesline and he tags out. Chavo returns, saving his partner from a superplex, and he hurricanranas his own partner on top of Kaz. Daniels breaks the pin up. Cool move though. Seconds later, Chavo throws himself out of the ring into Kaz. Daniels tries to also dive, but takes his own partner out with a split leg in the process. Kaz is getting teamed up on now. Daniels launches Chavo out the ring, and Bad Influence win the match for belt shot behind the ref's back. Much better, enjoyed that match. I think the longer Chavo and Hernandez together, we should see some improvement and they keep getting better double team moves. It's a C from the Hawk. Match 4, singles match, Christopher Daniels versus Chavo Guerrero. Not a lot's happening. Chavo hits a bad looking backbreaker. Daniels starts dumping in his nappy of fear and he hides on the outside, where Chavo hits him with a senton off the apron. Back in the ring and Daniels takes over with a leg sweep. Chavo counters his next move with a backbreaker. He's rolling now with a head scissors and a dropkick. Daniels tries to cheat the tag belt once again. A swing and a miss, and Chavo hits the Three Amigos. There's the frog splash for the three. Pretty repetitive, and we're only in match 4. It just feels like one giant Eddie Guerrero tribute. It would be nice to see Chavo do something for himself. As he celebrates, the crowd chant Eddie. This one's a D. Match 5, tag team title number 1 contendership match. Prime Angle and AJ Styles team up to take on Hernandez and Chavo Guerrero. Chavo starts with AJ and the crowd chant Chavo sucks, which puts a smile on the Hawk's face. He's embarrassed and he tags out. Chavo comes back in against Angle. Chavo tries a submission, but he's back suplexed away. An overhead belly to belly follows. Chavo's gone for a bit, but rejoins with a double missile dropkick. Styles gets a head scissors and Chavo goes for the Three Amigos as the crowd boo him. AJ fights it off anyway and spin kicks Chavo. It's hard to see which way this one's going. Kurt gets the ankle lock on Chavo, but no, Chavo fights that off. AJ comes in with a springboard forearm. Everybody hits finishers. Chavo hits the Three Amigos on Kurt and AJ to a mixture of silence and boos. Kurt runs up to the top to stop the frog splash, but Hernandez takes him out. Chavo misses the frog splash. AJ hits the Pele kick and looks for the Styles clash when Bad Influence rush the ring and cause a DQ finish. Not bad, but Chavo getting booed throughout was pretty funny. I've always preferred Chavo as a heel, even if they weren't going for that here. It's a D. Match 6, triple threat. Prime Angle takes on Chavo Guerrero and Christopher Daniels. CD tries to hide and the others won't let him do that though. They pinball Daniels around the ring. Kurt and Chavo try to one-up each other. Kurt makes a mistake though, which gets rid of him for a bit. Chavo gets tripped from the outside and the three teams start bickering. Finally, we do get to some wrestling. Chavo beats up Daniels with head scissors, drop kicks and sentons. Kurt Angle returns and he suplexes Chavo away overhead. Chavo does return for that, breaking up the ankle lock and almost rolling up Kurt. I'm only 6 matches in and I'm already sick of the Three Amigos. Chavo thinks about a dive, but Kurt is sent into him. Chavo fights off the ankle slam as Daniels shoves them both into the corner. He gives Chavo an STO and strangely, that's the 3. Chavo beaten very easily here. It's a D, worst match so far. Match 7, Bound for Glory 2012, triple threat tag title match. This is a good one. The challengers Chavo and Hernandez versus Prime Angle and AJ Styles, and the champions of Bad Influence. AJ starts with Chavo. No booing for Chavo this time because we're in Texas. Not a lot really happens and Kurt is tagged. Kurt slams Chavo whilst Daniels blind tags Kurt's back. Kurt isn't having that and he throws Daniels to AJ to tag in. Chavo crushes AJ over suplex and Hernandez is tagged. These two are showing some good teamwork. Bad Influence are really struggling with Chavo. He isn't really doing anything, but he's breaking up the pins and he's surviving. Kurt makes him pay with a German suplex for interfering. Everyone's doing the most insane moves in this match, but Chavo has just disappeared. He reappears in the ring where AJ Styles completely ignores him to dive out of the ring. Angle is the first back into the ring. Chavo hits him with 2 Amigos, but the third is reversed into the Angle Slam. Chavo realises he's letting the match down and he tries to improve things with a dive from the top to the outside. It's nothing like the risks everyone else has been taking in this one. Hernandez hits a border toss on Daniels and Chavo hits the frog splash for the 3. New champions? I love this match, it really is great, but it can't be denied that Chavo didn't take any risks here. Even his far bigger partner was going on mad here. It's a rare title win on Ring of the Hawk though, so it's a C for Chavo Guerrero. Match 8, non-title tag match, Chavo and Hernandez versus Kid Cash and Gunnar. Damn man, this match is crap. Chavo does the sum total of nothing and he beats Kid Cash with a crossbody. A crossbody, right, it's an S. Match 9, 6-man tag, Magnus teams up a Bad Influence to take on Samoan Joe and Chavo and Hernandez. I'm struggling to find much to say. Chavo's isolated, but nothing remotely interesting is happening. Bad Influence nail him with a hip toss leg drop. After a very long time, Chavo hits a head scissors on Kaz. The tag is mercifully made. Please end this one. Chavo does return with a wheelbarrow bulldog on Magnus. Magnus smashes him to the outside so he can't win, and Samoan Joe is beaten with a high-low from Bad Influence and a Magnus diving elbow. It's an S. Match 10, Turning Point 2012, tag title match. The challengers are the Bad Influence for Chavo and Hernandez's belts. There's nowhere for Chavo to hide in this match. He keeps just doing arm drags and hip tosses. He gets isolated as usual. He gets a gutbuster and Bad Influence keep teaming up on him so Kaz can hit the leg drop. Hernandez stops that domination and Chavo tags out, but not before his own partner slams him on top of Kaz. Chavo has his frog splash attempt stopped, and we're back to Chavo sitting on his ass getting a stomp down. Daniels gives him a single leg falling stomp. Chavo bravely tries to fight back, but he's too weak. He's draped over the ropes and drop kicked out of the ring so Bad Influence can do the Gangnam style dance. Kazarian goes back to slowly working him over and giving him shoulders in the corner. Chavo suddenly wakes up and hits a tornado DDT and tags Supermex. After about 5 minutes, Chavo comes back and starts hitting the Three Amigos to both Kaz and Daniels. Kaz stops his frog splash with a kick. Daniels tried to superplex him. He can't do that though, as Hernandez collects him on his shoulders. Chavo dives with a crossbody, and that's the three. Is he injured or something? It feels like he spends most matches hiding. It's a D. Match 11, singles match. Everybody's favourite, Joey Ryan versus Chavo Guerrero Jr. Joey Ryan is actually dominating Chavo in there. He drop kicks him and still somehow gets a 2 despite thrusting at the crowd for an uncomfortable amount of time. Chavo comes back with his own drop kick. He hits a head scissors 2 and a slingshot senton. There's the Three Amigos. He's not even trying to reinvent himself in the slightest. It's an Eddie Guerrero tribute act every night without any excitement. Before Chavo can hit the frog splash, Matt Boring interferes and he chokeslams Chavo. They are Morgan and the Organ, and they will be a team for some reason. Chavo wins by DQ, it's an S. Match 12, non-title tag team match. Robbie E and the Welsh Roider Rob Terry versus Chavo and Hernandez. Pick the scab of the tag division just an inch deeper and this division was terrible. Big match right here. Here we go then, 2 of this channel's favourites to start. Chavo destroys Robbie E with a back suplex and tags Hernandez. Chavo and Hernandez have some communication problems. I think Chavo wanted his partner to slam him on top of Robbie E or something, and Robbie E takes back over. The Welsh Roider joins the match now. Terry hits a scoop slam and always fills his nappy of anger and intensity. Now the Roider does a side slam into Robbie E doing a diving fist drop. Chavo turns the match with a released Northern Light suplex and Supermex is in. Hernandez destroys Robbie E with a get off me and Chavo wins with a frog splash. It's a D for some reason. Match 13, Final Resolution 2012 tag title match. The challengers are Morgan and the Organ. Wow, what a team. The champions are Chavo and Hernandez. This music feels like my brain is being stomped on. Chavo is scared of Morgan and dumps in his nappy of fear so the 2 big men can face off. Later on, the Mexicans decide to isolate Joey Ryan, which is a smart decision. That is until Morgan grabs Chavo from behind and throws him into the turnbuckles. Matt Boring hits him with a huge side slam, but for some reason he tags the Organ back in. The Organ gets a 2-off dropkick. After a very long time, Chavo reverses a corner powerbomb into a head scissors, which is possibly the nicest spot in this entire video. Chavo tags out. Later, Chavo hits the frog splash to Ryan. It's not the 3 though, because Morgan has dragged the ref out of the ring for a DQ finish. Chavo is rammed into the ring pole by Morgan. A D, I guess, because I like the head scissors. Match 14, non-title tag match, Christopher Daniels and the phenomenal Frankie Kazarian versus Chavo and Hernandez. The Mexicans start out with fire. Chavo sentons Kaz a couple of times. He looks like he's feeling himself tonight. Hernandez manages to get it right this time, slamming Chavo down on top of his opponent. Chavo comes close to dropping Kaz when he tries to slam him on top of Daniels though. Chavo is gone forever because surprisingly it's Hernandez who gets isolated. Chavo almost beats the phenomenal Kaz with a backbreaker and oh wow, something new, the 2 Amigos and a twisting suplex. Daniels saves his partner from the loss and Bad Influence hit a heart attack for a 2. The champions come back with dives out of the ring. Haven't seen much from Chavo here yet. Kazarian misses a diving forearm because he thinks he's AJ Styles and Chavo puts him away with a frog splash. Yeah, I felt like there was a little bit more effort here. There's nothing wrong with paying tribute to your Uncle Eddie, but that can't be your only gimmick. Expand on the things he did so well. It's a C. Match 15, Genesis 2013, tag title match. Morgan and the Organ, here we go again, versus Chavo and Hernandez. This crowd give the loudest Chavo chant of the video. I hate 95% of this match so much. Chavo is so useless he barely exists. The last 30 seconds are pretty entertaining though. The Mexicans hit stereo dropkicks which looks like pure chaos. Then Hernandez powerbombs Joe Ryan exposing his thong and Chavo wins with a frog splash. It's an S. Match 16, singles match. I was actually in the arena for this one. I hated it. Austin Aries versus Chavo Guerrero. It's Chavo with a ferocious start hitting the slingshot senton. Chavo dropkicks Aries through the ropes and dives onto Rude. Aries quickly dives on Chavo. If Austin Aries wins, he gets a tag title shot. Aries is in full control now. He dives with his elbow into the back of Chavo. For some reason, Aries tries a frog splash, which misses. Chavo then hits the Three Amigos in a frog splash. Rude stops the pin going down. Everybody gets distracted and Aries rushes Chavo with a dropkick and a brainbuster for the 3. You'd think a match against Austin Aries would be better. No, another D. None of these matches are bad, they're all just incredibly average. Match 17, tag title match. Bobby Roode and Austin Aries versus Chavo and Hernandez, the champions. This sounds a bit more like a serious threat for their belts. The Mexicans actually start really well, with Chavo busting out head scissors and outspeeding the Dirty Hills. The Dirty Hills do get on top eventually. Rude hits a throwback and Aries delivers a diving elbow to the back of Chavo. Man, this match is long. It's basically just Chavo trying to make the tag and the Dirty Hills stomping on him. Chavo misses a moonsault and gets a clothesline double down. The tag is finally made to Hernandez. He destroys everybody and tags out. What's the point, dude? You're in full control of the match. Chavo can't do anything. Guerrero comes back and fails on the Three Amigos and he shoves the Dirty Hills together. They start becoming partners who don't get on. Rude walks up the ramp. Chavo hits a suplex to Aries. Hernandez is about to powerbomb him when Rude reappears. He smashes Chavo in the slash zone and hits the double R spinebuster. Austin Aries hits the 450 and that's the end of their tag title reign. It was an 103-day reign, so not too bad at all. But this match was average, too boring, it's a D. Match 18, 8-man tag. Bad Influence team up with the Dirty Hills. They are Team Ego to take on Hernandez and Chavo Guerrero and Joseph Park and Cowboy James Storm. Man, looking back at these shows in England, so frustrating to watch TNA back then and see what was possible. Kind of a nothing match. Rude and Aries can't get on with their partners. Chavo hits the frog splash to Daniels. Kaz is still alive, so Chavo hits a turtle wheel backbreaker, and then Joseph Park wins for splash. It's an S. Match 19, mixed 6-person tag. Bad Influence and Gail Kim versus Chavo Guerrero, Hernandez and Velvet Sky. The Mexicans have a new double team where Hernandez backbreakers the guy into Chavo's senton. Chavo struggles against all of the cheating. Bad Influence come close to ending him with a net breaker. Daniels and Kaz keep going for a slingshot combination. You know you're in trouble when Velvet Sky brings the in-ring excitement more than you do. Notice how I said in-ring, because she's always exciting outside of the ring. Everyone except Chavo hits dives. For God's sake, do something, Chavo. Why are you constantly the most boring man in the match? Gail Kim beats Velvet Sky with eat defeat. It's an S. Match 20, Lockdown 2013. 3-way tag match for the TNA tag titles. The challengers are Chavo, Hernandez and Bad Influence. The champions are Aries and Rude. I am so tired of seeing Chavo at this point. He's just not interesting. He's not playing an interesting character. He's very dull in the ring. He can't cut a good promo, yet he's getting all these big matches. It's all just basic and bland. To reinforce that opinion, Chavo does about 7 suplexes in a row, and nobody cares. He just doesn't ooze the machismo of his uncle. In his favour, Chavo does take a lot of abuse in this match. He's isolated on his own for about 10 minutes. Whatever. The finish is that Chavo should have it won with the frog splash, but Rude tags in without him knowing, and he steals the pin. It's a C for almost boring me to death. Match 21, tag title match. Chavo and Hernandez versus the champions, the Dirty Hills. It was a match that happened. I may or may not have fallen asleep, I can't confirm. I woke up to see Chavo getting pushed by Bad Influence into a roll-up, and he loses. Match 22, Chavo and Hernandez versus Bad Influence. This one does give us something new, but the cameramen try their best to miss it. Chavo and Hernandez both run down the ramp and dive into the ring at the same time. Apart from that, it's a straightforward and repetitive match. Chavo fights off an Angel's Wings as Hernandez shoulder blocks him into the ring and Chavo wins with a frog splash. S. Match 23, 2 out of 3 falls match for the TNA tag titles. God help me. Chavo and Hernandez challenge for the Dirty Hills belts. Before the bell rings, the Hills jump Chavo. The ref is a dick and rings the bell straight away and Bobby Roode hits the double R spinebuster for the 3. The ref then proves himself to be even more of a dick and he doesn't even let Chavo get up after the pinfall before he starts the second fall. But Aries misses his frog splash and Chavo rolls Aries up for the 3. Why bother making it a 2 out of 3 falls match if you're just going to have the first 2 falls last 1 minute? Everything is so repetitive. I feel like I've seen every single one of the spots 5 times over already. Something new from Hernandez though is missing his charging dive into the ring and hitting Chavo by mistake. Just a 2. Chavo reverses another Rude spinebuster into a DDT for a 2. Hernandez double suplexes the Hills and Chavo wins with a frog splash. So after all of that, the Mexicans are the tag team champions for the second time. TNA were just so desperate to try and get that Spanish demographic. It's a D. Match 24, tag title match. Chavo and Hernandez defend against Rude and Aries. In almost all of these matches, bad influence have interfered or vice versa, so it makes Chavo look even more heroic, I guess, if that's even possible. I'm gonna put a poster of him up on my wall and throw darts at it tomorrow. As usual, the interference backfires and Chavo wins with a frog splash. How is it possible with a man like Chavo's history he can't come up with any cool double team moves? They barely even work together. They've been teaming for ages and don't even have a damn team name. Thank God the next match is a singles match. Match 25, Bobby Roode vs Chavo Guerrero. Chavo head scissors Roode out of the ring, but he's unable to dive because I don't even know if he can anymore. He hits a slingshot senton back into the ring and another head scissors. Complete silence for the Three Amigos, by the way, at this point. Roode stops the frog splash by rearranging Chavo's nutsack. James Storm slowly walks into the ring and he sprays beard in Roode's face and the match is thrown out for DQ. Yet another S. Match 26, 8-man tag. Daniels and Kazarian team up with Bobby Roode and Aries as usual to take on James Storm, Gunnar, Chavo and Hernandez. Bad Influence are just so much more entertaining than Chavo. It's actually interesting to see what was going on behind the scenes here. Frankie and Daniels were miserable in TNA because they felt like they were the best team in the company with the biggest fan response, but the management kept picking Chavo and Hernandez for all the opportunities. Bad Influence were made certain promises and they swore they were the better team. TNA just didn't want to get behind them, and they would leave TNA soon after this. Can't argue with that based on what I've seen in this video. Gunnar wins with a torture rack on Aries. This whole video is torture. Match 27, Slammiversary 2013. The tag titles will be decided in a fatal 4-way elimination match. Bad Influence take on Aries and Roode, Gunnar and James Storm, and the champions are Chavo and Hernandez. The Mexicans do fare a bit better with their double teaming, but it really makes me miss Homicide. His double teaming with Hernandez always looks so great. Chavo's double teams look really safe. Chavo has a pretty nice hot tag in this one and destroys Kaz for head scissors and backbreakers. He looks a little bit more motivated than usual here. The Three Amigos crush Kaz, but Chavo turns around into an Angel's Wings from Daniels. This causes the match to break down. Chavo hits a frog splash on Kaz and Daniels desperately tries to stop the count and he smacks Chavo with a belt. The ref DQs Daniels for that. Bobby Roode instantly rolls up Chavo for the 3. Wow, a lot of harsh referees in this video. It's like, yeah, I know you just got screwed, Chavo, but we're going to count Roode's pin anyway. Not terrible, it's a C. Gunnar wins the match with a torture rack on Aries. We move on. Thankfully, we're getting towards the end. Gunnar and James Storm randomly win this match for one of the most random TNA Tag Team Champions of all time. Match 28. Okay, this is a slightly interesting one. It's actually Hernandez versus Chavo for a place in a world title tournament. Chavo arm drags Hernandez. They seem quite evenly matched. They keep talking about Chavo having a vast experience edge over Hernandez. It's not really that vast. He's been wrestling since 1998. Chavo tries an armbar, but he's powered up to the top rope. Chavo dives straight into an overhead suplex. The crowd seems to be cheering Hernandez over Chavo. I know I am. Nice jumping backbreaker for Hernandez for a 2. He misses his next shoulder tackle into the ring. Chavo only managed to hit 2 amigos, and then he hits a nice spinning heel kick in the corner. He tries the frog splash, but catches nothing but knees. Chavo slips out of the border toss, and then Hernandez just stacks him up for the 3 in about 4 minutes. Even against his best friend in TNA, he barely managed anything. It's a D. Could have probably done with a heel turn at this point too, but no time for that. And more so, these two have been a team for this entire video, and this is their big match against each other. Not special at all. Match 29, Destination X 2013, Triple Threat. Manic takes on Kenny King and Chavo, with neither of those two getting an entrance. Chavo can't land a move. Manic gives him a suplex whilst holding a submission on Kenny King. Manic tries a Spider-Man move now, and Chavo finally drop kicks him in the gut to do something. It goes better against Kenny King as Chavo hits a head scissors, spinning heel kick in the corner and a missile drop kick. Manic returns with a crossbody on both guys. Chavo throws Manic into a drop kick on Kenny King, and then Manic almost rolls Chavo up with a crucifix. Chavo starts doing the Three Amigos to mix boos and cheers. Manic is drop kicked into Chavo, stopping his frog splash attempt though. Kenny King kicks him off the top rope and Manic beats Kenny King with his wacky finisher. It's a D. Match 30. Final match! Feast or Fired. Yeah, not to give away the finish of this one too, but Chavo is screwed. If you've not seen a Feast or Fired match, it's basically a pole match. 4 random cases contain 3 random prizes and the 4th is a pink slip. EC3 gets the first case, Zima Ion gets the second. Chavo actually gets the third case, but only because his partner Hernandez helps him get it and guards him. Not much to say, he did nothing but got a case. Game over. Because, hilariously, on the next episode of Impact, Chavo reveals that he has the pink slip and he is fired from TNA. Despite being a 2-time tag team champion, no tears were shed when Chavo Guerrero left TNA. Apparently, Chavo Guerrero didn't realise he was going to lose the Feast or Fired match. This is despite him not being booked on the TNA show for a few months in the lead up to this. He also thought the match was just a gimmick, but a production guy asked him if this meant that he was leaving TNA, and Chavo immediately called his lawyer, and Chavo and TNA came to an agreement. It seemed that TNA thought the stipulation of a Feast or Fired match was real. Good to see this video end in a way that we all love, with TNA doing something stupid. Chavo Guerrero did make a couple more one-off appearances for TNA in recent times, including one just last month where he even got the win. The Hawk didn't grin. Whilst Chavo and Hernandez were both legendary tag team wrestlers with their former partners, when these two came together it just didn't really work. They didn't have the cool factor like the previous teams they were a part of. Chavo spent most of his promos sounding like a Thai bride, and Hernandez barely spoke. Hernandez was pretty cool in the ring though, but I was shocked by how little this team had in the way of cohesive double teams. They didn't seem to have a lot in common other than being Mexican, and Chavo was very bland and forgettable. All of the guys around him were busting their asses to stand out, but Chavo was just Chavo. And ultimately, that's why the Hawk is not a fan. None of these matches were terrible. That isn't really what Chavo was. This was just a run of matches where Chavo did nothing to reinvent himself and shed the Hornswoggle stench. Where the hell were the Gory Bomb and the Gory Special? They didn't even make an appearance. That was surprising. So for that reason, I won't shove Chavo in the zone. He's getting a D because he really isn't that bad. He's just lame. And if you don't agree with that, I'll smack you without blame.